Hello and welcome to the page. Maybe on YouTube, maybe who knows where you might be watching this. So anyway, Luke Refke here, and Rand Paul now supports Mitt Romney. Kind of some shocking news, and Ron Paul's kind of going along with it. And to be honest with you, in hindsight, I don't know, something did seem a little weird here. It's always easy to say that, but I'm just giving you my honest opinion. Something seemed weird. Something seemed to kind of drop off here the last few months with Ron Paul. He just wasn't quite campaigning the way he was, and I just thought, well, geez, if I was that old, I'd probably be a little worn out too after the way he was fired up there for a while, and didn't really think too much of it. But now all of a sudden they're just telling the delegates, some of them have been actually beaten, and I've seen footage by the police because they don't just go along with the Republican Party breaking the rules and changing the rules at the last minute. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a little testimonial of mine, what happened to me when I was going to try to be elected for a delegate. I went ahead and I changed my registration status from independent to Republican. Was the first step in doing that, and then I thought everything was okay. Everything it took and everything. I got the confirmation page on the internet, and then later on I heard some hearsay that they changed the rules. So I'm looking into it, and finally I found where they had changed the deadline to, at this time it was it was already a couple months later from that point, but they had changed the deadline from like March to December or something like that, if I remember correctly. And I did this back in January, something to that effect. And so basically I didn't get registered in time, is the short story, is what happened, is why I couldn't continue doing that. And but it wouldn't have mattered anyway, I guess, because a Ron Paul delegate, I guess now they're told to just sit down and vote for Mitt Romney. And that's not the way it works. And even if there was 20% of them, that's not the way it's supposed to work. And then there was some other rules that changed to where I don't even know the details, to be honest. I don't remember. I heard a bunch of different goofy stories on it, and the delegates were standing up all over in different parts of the country. And this was before I was gonna drive over to Platteville and try to see if I could get nominated for or elected as a Republican delegate, and a Republican for Ron Paul. And I would have made that very clear right up in the beginning. But now I'm not too sure about how Ron Paul and Rand Paul are acting. They just kind of seem like they either got some threats that got to them, or they're somehow they've got to them they couldn't resist the peer pressure. I imagine that's got to be really tough when you're up there and everybody's just pressuring you from all different angles, and you just don't know what the heck to do or who to believe. It's probably real tough to get time to yourself to just think and clear your head and figure things out. So my take on the whole thing is just watch real closely and just keep an open eye. And I really, it's not looking good for Ron Paul at this stage in the game, in my opinion. I can't wait to hear what he has to say about all this. It seems like he should just come out with a statement on this. And the really weird coincidence here is in 2008, Hillary Clinton dropped out of the presidential campaign right after the Bilderberg meeting, within a week. And that's exactly the same thing what happened here, is Ron Paul drops out, I guess. I still haven't really confirmed that. It's like he's playing both sides of it all of a sudden, or something. Something really screwy is going on. But that doesn't change what I think, and it just might change what I think of a few people. That's all. And got to just keep moving forward and keep supporting the Constitution. And okay, another little story I'll tell you is I was over went to Fort Collins to see Ron Paul, and he was set up to speak at the Laurie Student Center, which is, I think it holds 800 people or something, and there was like double capacity. There was probably a couple thousand people there. People were leaving when I got there, and I knew what had happened, and I went up there with my camera and I said I'd like to stand on the side and film it if I could, to the policeman at the door, and he said, okay, yeah, I'll check, and then he just turned around and ignored me for a few minutes. He acted like he was texting on his phone, and then he just stood there, and so that kind of it just really irritated me. So and there was plenty of room. I looked right in the door, and I could have stood in the exact same spot as where I did before. But anyway, they shuffled a bunch of us, whoever wanted to go, to another building on the other side of the campus, and showed us a crappy live feed that kept breaking out. And there was probably about 50 to 100 people in that room, but most people just left the way it looked. So there was definitely a lot of support for Ron Paul. He definitely did win in a few different spaces, like Iowa and Washington County, Maine, and they cheated him out of it. I watched the whole thing unfold, and it's pretty obvious if you look into the details. I'm just kind of rambling on off the top of my head here, but I think maybe Webster Tarpley was actually maybe right. I hate to admit it, but I heard that last week when he said, "Oh, a friend with weed is a friend indeed, and a friend with gold is the best, I'm told." Ron Paul's campaign strategy. And he's saying that Ron Paul's promoting genocide by cutting off the welfare, and he's got a point. There's two sides of it. I mean, you can't just keep it going, but at the same time, you can't cut it off all at once either. But Webster Tarpley, I think, is taking a few things out of context, possibly. I'm not too sure what to make of it, because the budget crisis, the getting our future generations into debt. A lot of people are just gonna flat out have to get off their asses and stop collecting government money. And yeah, we've all got excuses. You know what? I have never collected government money, and most of my working days, I'm in pain. I mean, it's not near as bad as it used to be. It used to be horrible, and nowadays I'm pretty good. But if I go out there and work really hard, 8-10 hours a day, the pain comes right back. So I could cry a river and probably get, who knows, maybe even over $1,000 a month and live off that. But I just don't feel right about it, because I'm an able-bodied person, and I'm perfectly capable. And if I do more of this type of work rather than physical work, that's going to help the back pain too. Get a nice chair and make sure you don't sit in it too long, I guess. So yeah, that's my take on the whole thing. I'm kind of making this a long video. I don't even know how long it's going. Okay, right there, 8.5 minutes. So try to keep it under 10, I guess. I kind of, when I couldn't get that out of my mind, that Leprechaun video with Webster Tarpley, where he has that high-pitched voice, and I mean, it just kept ringing, and I knew there was something to it. And all week I've been just kind of couldn't get it out of my mind. And yesterday I was researching another story that I'm putting together on the Weld County water crisis that's been going on right here with the farmers in this area, and the GASP wells, GASP, what is that, the groundwater appropriators of the South Platte, and it's a company, and I'll tell you about that story here coming up in another video. But I was working on that all day long, and then trying to get that out, and I couldn't quite get to the bottom of it. But I started hearing more and more about this Ron and Rand Paul thing, and I had to start digging into that, and that's basically, my opinion came fairly easy with that once I dug the whole thing. So I figured I better get this out and let you know. And if there's any updates, just watch the story. I'll put some links in the description, and keep your ears low to the ground. Think for yourself, think positive, do healthy things for your health and your finances, and be a good person. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.